Karl-Anthony Towns has a meniscus injury in his left knee and is evaluating options, sources confirmed to our Adrian Wojnarowski and Brian Windhorst. So, Wendy, I'm going to start with you on this one. How concerned are you about Cat and the Timberwolves?
Pretty concerned because, I think the thing about meniscus injuries is there's a huge wide range that can happen. And so I think the most important thing is not to jump to any conclusions today. That, he may be able to avoid surgery, at least in the short term, and continue to play. He may have to have surgery. That's being determined by experts in this period here. But either way, he's hurt. And there's a possibility that exists he could miss time. And the Wolves, they're in first place right now by half a game. I do believe in the Wolves because of their defense, and their defense can travel, and they give Denver, it's a real matchup situation for Denver. And so I am a believer in the Wolves, even though they really haven't advanced in the playoffs literally in 20 years. I mean, I've said Anthony Edwards was basically in diapers the last time this team won a playoff series. So they need to be at full power, and this is a significant injury. So we will know more in the next few days. The Wolves do have terrific depth at big man. Naz Reid is arguably the best big man off the bench in the NBA, or at least one of the best. And so if Towns has to miss time, they have that other option. But Karl Towns adds a level of spacing and scoring from that 4 spot that you almost can't find anywhere in the league, especially with a defensive player like Rudy Gobert. So this is a very concerning development for the Timberwolves. And if I'm the Western Conference, especially that top 4, where they're all so tightly bound up, I'm talking the Thunder are a half game back, the Nuggets are a game back going into tonight's big game with the Celtics. I am watching very closely for how this Towns injury ends up playing out, because it could have a huge impact on the Wolves' ability to finish the season strong.
Yeah, Wendy, I'm in 100% agreement. This is a huge loss. Obviously, we don't know the severity of the injury. I'm hoping that Cat can come back and be fully healthy. We don't know if it's an actual tear. We don't know what type of injury it is to the meniscus. But if we're talking about, worst case scenario, if this guy is out, this is a huge piece. We're not talking about a role player here. We're talking about an NBA All-Star. This is a guy who people questioned last year fitting in with Rudy Gobert, or Rudy fitting in with him. They solved that problem. They had the #1 defense in the league. They have size. And when we talk about teams that can contend against Denver Nuggets, we always bring up Minnesota due to their size. They have multiple big men who they can throw at a guy like Joker and cause problems. Not to mention the 2-man game that he has with Ant. Karl provides spacing, he provides scoring, he's upped his defense, he's upped his leadership role there, he's fitting in, and obviously he's been there long term, but in terms of the chemistry of him and Ant, that's really a Batman-Robin situation. I mean, that's like us talking about the Bucks, and you're taking your second best player away. That'd be like us taking Damian Lillard out of the picture. Now we're talking about a whole different team here. So, and I love Naz Reid. Naz Reid is the best backup big in the NBA, by the way, Wendy. You got that 100% right. But Karl-Anthony Towns is an all-star. And for them to compete, if we're talking about a serious run, them getting to the conference finals, which I hope for the city of Minnesota, which would be really dope. I mean, the last time we saw this team have that level of success was all the way back when Ticket was there. So, I hope he gets back. But this is a big, big deal, man. This changes the landscape of the West if he's out.
For sure. And it's unfortunate for the Timberwolves and Karl-Anthony Towns. The first thing that I'm going to say is that I want to make sure Karl-Anthony Towns know to do the best for Karl-Anthony Towns. Not the team, not Big Perk, not Austin, not Wendy, not the fans. Like, do the best for Karl-Anthony Towns and make sure that you're healthy. That's number one. Number two, Naz Reid has been balling, right? But I think Bobby Portis would like a little, will have a say in this conversation for his best bigs coming in off the bench. But here's another thing, right? When I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves with Karl-Anthony Towns, I really believe that they're a legit threat of coming out of the Western Conference. And I strongly believe that. Without Karl-Anthony Towns, I feel like they could reach the second round. Second round is their ceiling in the Western Conference. But, this completely changed the whole landscape of everything. And also, I know you can't, quote unquote, try to work and see who you could play against or try to go against a certain team or seed your way into the postseason. But, if you're the teams at the bottom, you kind of want this smoke with the Minnesota Timberwolves right now.
How concerned are you about LeBron's health?
No more concerned than I have been on this injury for the last 6-8 weeks. He has been questionable every game for weeks. He will remain questionable probably until the end of the season. We'll see. It's tendonitis, and with tendonitis, anybody who's had it knows that it gets on you, and the best thing to do would be to take a couple of weeks off, but he can't do that, so he has to manage it day to day. That's one of the reasons why at the All-Star break he took the extra time afterwards to try to get it to calm down, and it did. He was feeling better, and now it's back. I don't know if you'll see LeBron play in back-to-backs the rest of the way, and if he does, it's going to be really like a game-time decision, because you're going to have to see how that ankle is feeling and its mobility and his ability to play on it. The good news for the Lakers is I think they only have 2 back-to-backs left. So he will do what he has done with ongoing injuries throughout his career. He will get treatment as aggressively as he can before the Lakers' next game. They're in a fortunate part of their schedule here where there's almost no travel for them. So there's no worry about issues with the travel and the swelling, and there's more time to treat it when he's home. But it's not going away. It's going to be a nagging thing. And if you look at just about every team in the league, especially a whole bunch of teams in the East that are missing star players, this is a reality in March in the NBA.
Well, the reality is that the Lakers are done. And I'm very, very concerned about LeBron James when it comes to his health. And rightfully so. This man is 39 years old, right? And I'm talking about concern for his physical health and his mental health at this point. He's doing everything and more to carry and keep this team alive just to be in the play-in tournament. Like, I don't even want to think about what he's going to have to go through or put his body through for them to even try to make the playoffs and then make a run in the postseason. And so it's unfair for me to come on here and say that I expect big things out of Bron at the age of 39, which he's already been giving us big things, but to continue to carry this team. And by the way, where the hell is Anthony Davis at right now? Like, this is the time for him to step up and show, why he should be a top 5 player in the league. LeBron has tried to give him the keys to the car. He only went around the corner. Like, take a road trip. Actually carry the load. Be a guy that is in the middle of his prime and go out there and do what you do best. Last night, another prime example of Sabonis giving him that work. And that's been over the last 8 or 9 games Sabonis has owned this matchup. Like, at some point, we gotta, take in consideration, real consideration. I'm with you on this, Wendy. 39 years of age, LeBron James. He finished the game last night with 13 and 5. What more can he do? And I'm very concerned for the LeBron James and his health, physically and mentally.
Yeah, I agree with both Perk and Wendy. I mean, we have to be concerned. If you're a Lakers fan, you have to be concerned. LeBron James in year 21, 39 years old. He's been dealing with this ankle issue before All-Star break for the past couple of weeks. You just said he's going to be missing back-to-back games possibly. And this is a team that is hoping to try to make another historic run like they did last year. They're behind the 8 ball. They're scaling backwards. They're in the play-in game. They can't guard anybody. This doesn't really mold well for the Lakers if you're looking long-term. You ask yourself, even if LeBron James is able to fight through these injuries, and if the Lakers are able to put another run together, how much will he even have going through the playoffs? We all know the playoffs is a whole different season and a different level in terms of physicality. And, that's just something that when you talk about with LeBron James and his health at his age, is it even fair to ask him to, propel this team again like he did last year? And to Perk's point, they need AD to be a superstar. If they have any chance to make a run and hold it down and to get into the plan and get into the playoffs, they need AD to be that guy, 100%. You have to be concerned.
Perk, you mentioned the fact that LeBron had 31, 13, and 5. That's his 99th 30-point, 10-assist game, which is the third most in NBA history. Wendy, I'm going to ask you this. Are the Lakers still a threat after that loss?
I mean, if you give me a laser pointer, a spreadsheet, and a whiteboard, I could build you a case that they could do something. I mean, one of the things about the Western Conference is it's going to be very matchup dependent because the way things have played out, teams who have size can kind of manhandle teams that don't have size. We saw that with the Lakers this week against the Thunder. The Lakers are 3-1 against the Thunder. If the Lakers can get into the playoffs, which is going to be hard at this point, but if they can get through a play-in tournament and get in and they're facing Oklahoma City, yeah, they got a shot for sure. Oklahoma City's not experienced. The Lakers can win on the road. I mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, we are now in mid-March, early to mid-March here. They are in 10th place. This was a very important game for them last night because the Kings are one of the teams that they've got to try to crawl over to get out of the 9-10 spot in the play-in. That 9-10 spot, you can't look at the 7th spot and the 10th spot as everybody's in the play-in. The difference between 9 and 10 and 7 and 8 is so big because not only do you got to win 2 games, but the second game is going to be on the road. You're going to have to go on the road in a single game elimination situation and win it. And that's just a big ask. And so this game was an opportunity for the Lakers on their home court, and they've been playing well to get to the Kings. And the Kings just slapped them down. As Perk said, the Kings have owned the Lakers over the last 2 years. It's really traced to the AD Domantas Sabonis matchup. Sabonis has pretty much owned AD. Now, AD is having a good year. He had his 50th double-double last night, but Sabonis has owned him. And so you're asking me to paint you a picture of the Lakers making a run. Well, what happens if they have a play-in situation where they have to go to Sacramento, who I think is 7-1 against them the last 2 years, and Sabonis is 9-0 in his career against AD. Am I going to sit here and tell you that I like their chances in that game? I can't. And this is an example of why I can't rule it out, but it's hard to build a real case for the Lakers to do what they did last year.
You know, when people ask this question about, are the Lakers a real threat? All I hear is, maybe. I mean, if was a fifth, we'll all be drunk. And the answer to this question is hell no, they're not a threat in the Western Conference. They are not. Like, we need to stop saying that, stop thinking that. No one in the top tier that's in the playoffs, in the playoff hunt, in the playoff picture, or the play-in tournament is worried about the Los Angeles Lakers. They can't guard a parked car. They're struggling to find an identity on both sides of the floor consistently. Darvin Ham don't know what lineups he want to throw out there on a night-to-night basis, and so they're all over the place. And when I think about, teams like the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Kings, the Warriors. Right now, the Warriors are better than the Lakers. If they was to match up in the play-in tournament, I would actually take Steph Curry, Jonathan Kuminga, and the Golden State Warriors the way that they're playing right now. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to this for the Lakers. You're going to finish up strong. They're going to be in the play-in tournament. Their ceiling is a first-round exit, in my opinion, the way that they're looking right now. And then they got to look into the offseason and see what big time started they could go in the track, maybe trade for, like a Trae Young or a Donovan Mitchell.
I think the question here is a threat to what? Is it a threat to make the playoffs? Is it a threat to make the conference finals? If we're talking about the playoffs, then yeah, sure, they can be a threat. We saw this last year. A lot of people counted the Lakers out, and then LeBron James made that run. I've learned a lesson throughout my NBA career and just watching basketball. You don't ever count out LeBron James, especially with a guy like Anthony Davis next to him. Obviously, AD had a poor game last night, but he actually has had a pretty solid season. D'Lo, as of late, as well, had a bad game last night, but he has been turning it up and playing his best in basketball, arguably, of his career. They have the pieces there in terms of role play. I mean, you look at this spreadsheet, man. They got guys scoring 23, 31, 29. So the issue right now for me is, if we're going to talk about the negative with the Lakers, is they cannot guard the ball. They have issues guarding the ball. So when we talk about them being a 10th seed and possibly playing an OKC first, who's guarding Shai Alexander? I saw De'Aaron Fox last night cut up this team, man. 44 points. They had no answer for him. And I love Austin Reeves. He's a good offensive player, but he's not a guy that we look to as a defensive stopper. I love Taurean Prince. I love D'Lo. These guys are shooters, guys who can space the floor, but they're not defensive stoppers. They don't really have perimeter defense, which is my issue. So we're asking LeBron James and Anthony Davis to overcome a lot, especially with the injuries that LeBron is fighting through right now. It's going to be tough for them. I don't see them making a run to the conference finals again, so I don't know if it's that level of a threat. But are they a threat to where they could play one of these younger teams and cause problems? Maybe, sure. But they have some issues that they got to address. They got to find a consistent lineup that they believe in, that they can build some type of continuity in, which is going to be tough with 18 games left. And they got to find a way to keep the ball in front.
So Austin, are you telling us and telling America that you're officially losing faith in the Los Angeles Lakers, or have lost faith? Because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, on NBA Today, now you was going back and forth with me about this same situation and the same topic.
Correct.
About the Lakers being the threat. You
Correct.
telling me you jumping out? It's okay now because we all
his
admit now.
ankle, the ankle issue is alarming. I mean, he's leaving games, and now we're questioning whether he's going to be able to play back-to-back games. I mean, that's a big deal. So I mean, that changes and alters some things, Perk. But I'm glad you've taken notes on my on my
You got
takes.
the receipts.
I'm gonna start taking some receipts with you, Perk.
I mean,
if that's what we doing.
You know.
Because you got some takes too, brother.
No, I'm just saying. I do. You know what I'm saying? And I hold myself accountable, but damn it, I gotta hold you accountable too. I just asked the question.
I respect it. It goes around.